All right, just diving right in. One of the things I think I want to highlight and talk about most from this GS session is line choice. The idea of bringing your line, what's sometimes called the high line, the deep line, bringing it across the hill, finishing your turn more. These are all kind of like phrases we use to kind of describe the same thing, which is making your turns more round, and kind of taking what would eventually be a longer path through the gates, but one that would allow you to carve a cleaner turn and therefore go faster across that path, leading to like a faster time. So before we dive into anyone's individual video from the training session, wanted to look at Federica Brignon's winning run, second run from the World Championship GS. I think she does a really good job showcasing this concept of like taking a deep high line, and I think it's the benefits are immediately clear in how she's able to carve these turns, and seemingly in a way that like doesn't look like she's even like trying that hard, but she ends up being fastest on the day. So let's take a look. So first couple of gates a little crazy, but once she gets in this rhythm, there'll be some good examples when she gets to the pitch. Okay, so getting here, we're going to see her take a line that, if I were to guess or recall what this line is, I've seen this before. She's going to be getting her turns done here, up here, up here, and by doing so, she's not going to be pulled low on this like really steep pitch. And she's not going to go direct at the gate and then kind of like skid her turn and be pulled low and have to get a lot done. It's all going to be done above the gate. So let's take a look. Above the gate, above the gate, above the gate. Like look at that turn. If we can just draw a little what her line was, we can see her dust trail. It's right there. Inside ski, outside ski. And now she has basically coming out of that, she has full choice. She's aimed up here right now to start her turn here. She could delay it if she wants. She could turn even more and get a higher line. From this point, she's in a point, like a position of choice, not someone who's just struggling to survive to make the next gate. Huge. Point 0.9. Excellent run. All right, now moving on to people's individual video. Full confession, I don't know everyone's name yet. So if I refer to you by the color of your jacket or helmet or something, please don't be offended. If I don't know your name, please come and introduce yourself to me. I'd love to learn your name. It's just hard to do that when everyone's skiing around and we're also setting gates and stuff like that. So I apologize. But let's get to people's individual video. All right. So we've got Sabrina and on chorus. This is not the best video, I'll say. Didn't zoom, but just to give a quick little analysis of what happened there from what we can see. Um, you were just getting lower and lower um, every turn, and plus we can see a little counter there. So let's just back it up. So we can see you're coming kind of straight-ish at the gate. I would like to see, personally, I would want to see like that turn, you're kind of coming in this direction. I would want to see kind of coming across the hill and getting it more done so that you're kind of coming in with the turn more complete. We'll see coming here, you release the edge right there, which we can see kind of in a direction going that way. And that kind of leads you straight-ish towards the gate. Your next run, you actually do this better, so keep an eye on this compared to your next run. But you can see you go a little too straight at the gate and counter a bit, so it takes you a little too long to pull off that turn, and you get too late and can't make this next gate. So we can see this counter. You're turning rightward. You're turning kind of in this direction, but your body's kind of facing more in that direction. You're losing pressure on your downhill ski when you do that. You're not being square. So it takes too long, and you're back a little bit and just blow out. So But let's look at how that all happens next run, where this run, my filming gets better, let's be honest. Uh, but here, so you skid this turn a little bit, kind of same thing where I would like to see you, instead of go that way and kind of skid the turn during this phase, it would be cool to see it take across the hill more and then get the carve done here and then be coming out uh, with the direction you need. But you come out with a much better direction this line, this run than last. As you can see, you're going more in that direction. Hips and shoulders are square. So yeah, you're coming from behind the gate. You're coming into the gate with much more of the turn done, with your direction done. So you're going to be coming across the hill. Little counter there, just to point it out. It seems to happen more on your left-footed turns than your right. That could be a function of the hill. We do have the face does fall away slightly to the left. So while we generally ski in that-ish direction, the hill kind of goes more in that direction, making the left-footed turns slightly more severe. So just keep an eye out for that. But it could be something physiological as well, like my right foots are way different than my left foots. That was a little turn, a little late, but a great turn. Just like um, the pressure was in the fall line, nice and square. Not too much countering. You can see like right there, your your skis are going that way, and your shoulders are going across and kind of facing perpendicular. Everything's nice and lined up. Whereas if you were countering, your skis would be this way, and your shoulders would kind of be like in kind of a position like that. That's that's great. So this is, if thinking about the Brignone example, this is, an example of what we call pinching the line. So if we back it up a little bit, we can see you come out of this turn here, and you're feeling rushed. You're like, oh no, because a lot of the turn was getting done below the gate. But here, to catch up, you go straight at this gate. You come out and you go straight at this gate, rather than continue that turn even more and try to go like that. And so you can go arc to arc. It'll be this longer path. But what happens is, because you're going straight here, you realize, like whether subconsciously or not, you realize if you were to like arc this turn right now, you would end up inside the gate because of this line choice. So what we do is we kind of like delay the turn for a second, and we do that by skidding. So you're going to see a little bit of skid from about here until here, until you pick up, like, let's say if the proper line was like that, you're basically taking this pinchy line and realize, oh no, I can't make it, and you're going to skid until you're on this proper line, and then your skis will pick up and you'll come out under the gate. So you skidded for, oops, you skidded for like all that distance, and now you're coming up on that line and you pick it up. But if you could have just like, and so that may seem like, oh, I'm back online, but that skidding cost you like, a hundredth, 200ths of a second or something. So you do that over 50 gates, and that's a lot of time. Yeah, that stubby was doing you no favors on the hand hooks. This is this is good. Good line choice here. And this is on the Tournier afternoon course, which should have been, harder. And because it's Tournier, it's more demanding of that high line, and you're doing well. You're coming out with your skis are going to be like here coming in through this gate. And it'd be maybe a little better if it was more like that. But you're still getting a lot of that turn done, above the gate. We can see a lot's already been done right there. Okay, one thing I want to point out though is like your hands in between turns are it's crazy. It's like, look at this position coming in. Like, your hands are at your hips. It's going to be really hard to pull off any athletic maneuver with your hands at your hips. And yeah, you can see that brings you back. Your hands are dragging you backwards here. If you just raise your hands, it'll be like free effort to get your body forward. drive those hands forward. Right, first victim of my nicknames, Clown Pants. Let's take a look at some of your video. So, all right, right off the bat, excellent line choice. Really like that. So let's just watch that again. Make sure we know what we're talking about. So coming out of this gate, so maybe, maybe pinch the line a little bit here, and that's why you kind of scrub that turn. If you brought that across the hill a little more, um, you wouldn't have to kind of scrub that turn quite as much, I don't think, but because you're going that direction, you need to delay the turn to get around that gate. But once you do, coming out of this turn, that's great. So you're coming out, you see how you're way above the gate here, such that you're getting a lot of the turn done above the gate, and you're going to kind of like swoop in on this blue gate with a lot of the turn already done, right? Like right there. So the turn's done. You're already looking to where you want to go to the next gate. That's great. Great turn. Yeah, just real quick comment off that you seem to be more comfortable with your left footers because left footers on this hill should be more challenging because the left foot falls away. But I'd say your left foots were cleaner, so maybe just something to pay attention to when you're free skiing. Why might that be? Okay, another great line choice there coming out, getting a lot done above the gate. You're going to swoop in on this blue with the turn done. Excellent. But this one, I think so two things. I think you can make this a little bit easier for yourself by taking this turn across the hill more, like we were saying before. So you're going, let's say if you're going that direction, continue to carve and then come off here and then start the turn and, swoop in from what we call from deep in the line, kind of like you do on this blue, but for this red. The other thing I notice is on these, your upper body is, so if your leg is kind of going in that direction, your upper body is kind of only going in that direction. And, we need a little more of an angle to keep pressure on our outside ski. So if that's your leg, your upper body should be more like in that direction. So when you're going through this, think of like, in this case, like a side crunch on your right to get that shoulder, or side crunch on your right. Another way to think of it is taking the shoulder and trying to like pull it in that direction, which is kind of the same thing as a side crunch, but all this is like it'll just get the mass of your upper body out over your outside ski more. Nice. Good line choice at the bottom. Clean turns. Great hands too. Excellent, very strong pull pin. Just want to point that out. Boom, look at that. So I'd say like this one, I don't know, something about this run just looks like your turns aren't quite as clean as they were. And the only thing I can really point to is, we were talking about angles before. So your legs are in that direction, your body's really not in um, enough of an angle here to keep pressure on that outside ski. So really just think of that side crunch when you're coming over, when you're on the hill, just like getting that shoulder out over the outside ski. Same thing with this side too. Kind of a straightish line there. Want something more like that. Strong pull plan. That may have been the same run again. That's okay. My editing skills will get better. All right, nice. From this side, let's see this. So yeah, again, same thing kind of that we've seen before, just a different angle. Like your lower body is that way, your upper body is like that. It would be cool to see lower body like that, upper body more like that. So side crunch. And it'll just allow you to get more pressure on that ski, a more reliable platform to press on, and the turn will get done faster. All right, next we have pink pants. Let's take a look. With the stubby, let's take a look. All right, so kind of similar to what I've been saying to some of the previous athletes, but this skate really shows well what we mean by like taking the turn, the line a little deeper. So coming across here, you start to dive in on your turn here. If you could maybe delay that a little, ever so slightly, so that you can, bring the arc a little further out. What that'll prevent is we can't really see it that well, but a little bit of snow gets sprayed here because you essentially have to like drift your turn out until you're on that proper line before you know, okay, like I'm gonna let my skis hook up now and we can, start arcing. Got a little hung up there, got a little countered, and that made you lose pressure on that downhill ski. So let's just take a quick look at that. That so counter and a little lean, and you lose that pressure on the downhill ski. The downhill ski kind of runs away from you, and you're kind of suddenly you're not standing on anything. You have to do something to catch your balance and bring that ski in. So, what you can do to prevent that is coming around this turn here. If, pinching the line a little bit, which means you have to kind of skid that turn. But if you had a little more pressure on the outside ski, so here's your legs, your upper body's kind of like here. If instead your legs were here and you did this like side crunch, you could have more pressure on that downhill ski and not get so jostled around. Good job getting back in the course though. I like that. Run two. Okay, so we can kind of see the counter a little bit here. So this is kind of a weird angle, but a good one because we can see the skis are going in that direction, but your upper body is like you're kind of looking out in that direction, that way. Whereas really, if your skis are here, your shoulders should also be, your eyes, the middle of your shoulders should be facing that direction. So, your left and right shoulder should be kind of like here, everything nice and square. But instead, you have your skis here and your shoulders are kind of like that. You're looking out in that direction, and that's preventing you from getting as much pressure on your downhill ski as you can. You're kind of shifting backwards, losing pressure. So what that means is that it takes that, you're kind of skidding that. It takes a little bit longer to get that turn done, and you're behind. Whereas if you could have put more pressure on that outside ski, you'd be done already. You'd be off that left ski, and you'd be looking to get onto that right ski already. Let's see what happened there. Let's take a look. So I think it's a combination of line pinching and then not having enough pressure on our downhill ski and kind of slipping out. So right here we can see that your skis are kind of facing in that direction, and your brain knows that like that's not where you want to go. You actually want to be going more in that direction. So you basically start putting them side, like skidding the turn sideways here, um, so that you can just scooch around that gate as much as you can. But in doing so, you're losing pressure, and it's going to take some time and effort, a lot of effort actually, to hook that ski back up on and like offline doing so. So really, it's like you're spending more effort to take a slower path, which is inefficient. If you wanted to try to pull that off, maybe one way you could have done it, if that's your legs, you could have like had that side crunch so that your upper body, your torso is more pressure on the outside ski and just really hammer the turn. Um, but your body's kind of more like that, so you don't have enough pressure um, to pull off that turn, and you kind of slip. You lose that pressure, and then you have to come up a little bit because you're not going to make that gate. Get back in it. Nice. Good last turns. I think just because I know Mike is going to say this, but looking here, you're kind of in the back seat. You know, if you look at like where most of your weight is, I would say, you know, most of it's here, which is, you know, you don't have very much like pressure on, like you can see your tips are actually coming off the snow right there. And you don't have very much like pressure on the tongues of your boot right here. So it's going to be hard to initiate that turn. It's just basically everything's going to take longer and it's going to take more energy. Um, oh dear. Oh, oh, oh. I actually thought you were, I was going to keep filming. Then I saw you put your hand on your head and I was like, oh no, she's hurt. So I had to stop filming. All right, I'm going to call you La France. All right, La France. Looking at this turn, what I want to look at is just your line choice coming into it. You know, I think by this point, coming off the face, you should have probably enough speed to be able to carve turns, even if it's not on quite on the pitch yet. But let's take a look at what happens here. So see all that snow that comes up there? See it all? See it? If you had just waited ever so slightly longer coming off this turn here, so we can see here, this is like right in transition, you're between turns, let's say you're going in that way. If you had waited ever so slightly longer so that you were coming across, you know, like that, that's the difference we're talking about. It's not even that much. Um, you would have given yourself more room to go just from one arc coming off this, just to, you know, this is your, let's say your transition point, and then just to another arc that will happen here and come right under the gate like that. But instead, because you're going in this direction, maybe that's not the best line, but let's say you're going in that direction, you realize that like if you start turning right now, like where you are right now, you're going to turn well inside that gate. So your brain is telling you you need to stop for a second and wait to get to the point where you can actually start like carving again. And what that point is right is when this spraying will stop, your brain's like, all right, I'm back online. I can like, you know, hook it up. I'm about to take this panel in the face, but you know, I am generally online and going to make this gate. But like if you had just been a little more patient coming out of that previous turn, instead of having, you know, skidding happening from here until you're at the point where you can have your two skis hook up, you could have had just both skis come across and take that entire arc deeper in the line. Smack. Um, I think one thing, so, you know, left turns, left footer turns on this hill are always going to be harder. But if you look your left, your leg is kind of here, your upper body is kind of like that-ish. If you could do something to, and that something is a side crunch, you know, core tension. If you could do something to get that left shoulder more over that outside ski, you know, basically bring that shoulder and pull it, use your core to pull it over in that direction, you're going to feel a lot more force on that ski. You're going to feel the ski turn faster. You're going to feel more stable throughout the turn because you have more pressure. You're going to have better traction. So just like in that turn, try to do those side crunches too to get more pressure on that outside ski. All right, this is a kind of a better example of that same thing where you know you start the turn right off camera there, you're starting the turn, but your brain's immediately like, oh gosh, if I complete this turn, if I like really hook up these skis, I'm well within the gate. So you know, your brain's telling you, I need to basically chill until about here, until I can do this motion, but down here in this spot. So instead you skid, skid, skid until you're at this part where your brain knows, okay, this is where I can start arcing. And then you do a good job arcing. You know, I could, you know, if I'm being critical, I could say a little more, like bring the shoulder out across the on the downhill ski a little more, but you know, you're back online here. Yeah, it seems like your left footers, um, you naturally bring them a little wider than your right footers. Like if we see that, we see a little skid, but not quite as much as they're on the right side, I think. But yeah, just that idea of bringing the turn, across the hill and getting that turn done so you're coming under the gate, as opposed to coming here and then deciding, all right, I'm going to start this next turn, but then skid, 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 skid until you're on line because you're just losing time all while you're skidding and not carving. All right, let's look what happened there. Let's take a quick look. Rewinder. All right, let's take a look. Okay, so actually line-wise, that doesn't look too different from your previous runs. I think you were just pinching a little more, and you like started to hook up the turn, like right here, and you realize, oh wait, I I'm way inside. I need to stop because I'm gonna like go right through this panel, and you kind of stop and reset there. So I think this is just like you got away with it, you can say, for the past couple of runs. I would say this is the run where you kind of went a little too early, a little too straight, pinched a little too much, and it got you. All right, Sebastian, let's take a look. All right, that's, your line choice there is good. I like how you are bringing it. Okay, let's get to this. So you're coming out of this turn, and let's look where you're looking. It kind of looks like you're looking at the gate a little bit when you should probably, yeah, I mean, looking at the gate isn't the problem, but I just hope you're not diving in too soon. Let's take a look because, you want to be coming from up here. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. So you're coming through by the time you're at the gate, you're roughly at the gate there. You've got your skis pointing across the hill. So your line is in a good spot. Your body position, though, you don't have very much pressure on the outside of your ski, and it's going to just require like more time to complete that turn, thus like kind of like dragging you lower. So good line choice, but what we want to see is if your leg is like this, having your body, your kind of shoulders, your upper body a bit more at an angle here, and then your shoulder kind of like going across, being like core tension to bring it leftward over that outside ski more. All right, look, let's just highlight this. Look at those hands. Hell yeah. That's just doing you all the favors in the world to keep your body weight forward. Look at where you are. You've got some positive pressure there, some positive angles there. If your hands were back, that wouldn't be happening. Well done. Yeah, you hear me saying nice hands there. um, I want to point out, this is really good demonstration of patience. You're a little behind the line here, right? Like you're getting a lot of turn done below the gate. However, right here, you could say, all right, I've got enough done. I'm going straight for this gate. But you don't do that. You continue the turn more so you can take a rounder line here. So it's like continue, 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 and then you bring it across, and look, you've gotten a lot of that turn done already here. Again, try to get that pressure on the outside ski, that core tension. That was a really good choice of line there. and it makes this next turn a lot easier for you. And you're back online despite being very low. Despite being very low on this blue, you you caught back up from there to there. All right, next we've got Bluetooth speaker. All right, first thing I see, we're talking about, tactics and technique. This is technique. How you ski, how you do a turn. Kind of similar to some of the things I've been saying before, but um, the pressure you have on your outside ski is a huge function of kind of like your upper body position mid-turn. You can see like your body isn't in a straight line per se, but what we want to see is more of this angulation between your upper body and your lower body. Um, so, if you can do like a side crunch, the way I like to think of it is taking, in this case, that right shoulder and trying to do everything you can to bring it out towards this side of the hill. So that's like a huge rightward side crunch, and that gets a lot of your upper body mass over your right foot and will like create more and consistent pressure. Good line choice there. Love that. This line. Yeah, I just want to give you props for this. But coming out of this, you're, let's say right here, you're like, all right, I'm past this gate. I could go straight for this one. However, you're more patient and you come out of it like that so that you can swoop in on this blue gate. Nice. Let's see, how does the upper body look? A little bit better, I think, this run, but still you can be, getting that upper body that is like that, maybe a little more like that. Nice, good line there again. All right, let's see. Okay, talking a little bit about line choice here. This has been a consistent trend. Um, Maybe it's something about coming up off over the like onto the pitch where it's a little weird doing this. But you can see right here is where you kind of start. You're coming off the left foot, pretty much off the left foot, and right about to get on the right, and you're facing in this direction. And you're going to see that you end up kind of pinching your line a little bit. So if there was something, if you could have stayed on this left foot a little bit longer and been a little harder on it, by this point here, you could very reasonably have been going more in that direction if you had turned a little harder versus kind of came off it there. And what that means is we'll see in a frame, but since you're coming in this direction here, you realize like, oh, I can't really start turning yet because if I do, I'm going to like be inside this gate. So you start skidding all around that scrubby line until you get onto the proper line and you start like really trying to make the turn hook up. But what I was saying before is if you could have just been a little more patient coming off of that line, you could have been coming off of this arc and onto another arc here, kind of in that like, oh, that's not an arc, kind of more like that. Oh, going on, like in that direction as opposed to skidding this portion. Yeah, so like right, this is a gate will get a little bit in our way, but this is a good example, good turn, where you're coming off of this turn and you're kind of like not really doing anything for this port, like between, let's say like right here and right here, you realize like if I do anything, I'm going to be inside that gate. I have to just I have to chill for, you know, 5 meters, which is like crucial real estate. So if you could have come off of this ski more, instead of going that direction, more like across there, your transition period becomes more like right here, and then you're on that arc like that. All right, Alex, let's take a look. All right, let's see how you do the first gate. Yeah, similar trend to others. Where coming off of this gate, you see how, between really like when the snow starts flying right here, and this point, you're not really like doing much to be strong on that outside ski because you can't. Your brain knows right here, if you start turning, you are going to turn inside that gate and miss it on the inside because you're going too straight. So your brain is saying, all right, I have to pause from now until now. Now I can get back on the ski because I have room to do so. But you've skidded a bunch of turn, maybe, 10 meters or so of turn. You've been skidding your edge. You haven't been on a line that is going to help you after the gate. And if we look at this position right here, this is a not strong position to be in. Like, one bump or something, um, this angle is not enough to, keep you on that outside ski. So let's see what happens next. Okay, well, I'll say, despite everything I just said, really good completing of the turn and coming from behind on this line. I would say you're, whatever speed you've lost up here from skidding, you're back on line here to be able to, be able to arc the turns. But then pinching a bit still here. So we can see like if you were to actually really try to hook up that ski right here, you would miss that gate on the inside, no doubt. So your brain's saying you need to pause, 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 pause. Okay, now you have room. But if you had coming off of this turn, if you had come instead of this way, come across the hill a little bit more, you would be, let's see, so if you were on this line, you'd be coming in and be under the gate here. You're essentially going to slide from this point to this point until you get back on that line and can carve that. So, you're back on line there, but what it took to do so cost you time, and the amount of energy it takes to slide that turn is, I think, a lot greater than arcing a turn. So you spent more energy and done it slower. So on a long GS, like you're gonna be toast. That was a nice turn. You brought the line pretty deep there. You were on maybe a little more pressure, a little more direction change below the gate than we'd like to see, but you were patient and then can have the room to arc that turn. And the amount of, we could, just judging by the amount of snow sprayed, there was a lot less snow in what is a much bigger turn too. Nice high line there. Well done. Again, pinching on this gate. This was a really tricky gate, it seems like. But you're coming in, you're pinching a little bit, so you're trying to do these like gymnastic efforts to get around the gate, which includes like dropping your left hand a little bit, which doesn't help pressure on your downhill ski. You're kind of just doing, these weaselly things to get around the gate, and it's not that's not a strong position to be in. If instead of your skis being right here, they were a little bit outside the gate, you could have such a strong hip position here and just, have all the pressure to exert all the force that you possibly need. Another good line choice on that gate though. Well done. This, a bit of a counter here. Um, you can see your skis are pointing in this direction, but your body is pointing more in this direction, causing you to like lose some pressure on the downhill ski. You skid a little bit, again, more energy to do a slower move. But that is a great turn. Unlike that previous turn, you can see there's a little bit of a scrub there, but you bring the turn deeper. Like this is World Cup stuff right here, where you bring the turn deeper and you just have all that room. Look at that. You have all that room to exert all the pressure you need on that ski, and you just make it do what you want. coming out, bam, look at that, coming in that direction. And then another one with that body, upper body position, gets all the pressure on the downhill ski. Those were some great turns. This is the still the morning course. Yeah, just some like right here. This is actually pretty good line to be on, right? But you just like need to be in a body position to get that turn done. And I see a dragging left hand that's making it hard. This left hand in this pole we can see being down is making it hard to get that right shoulder outward to get pressure on that ski. It's dragging you leftward and drags you further down. Just takes longer to get that turn done. Yeah, this was a great run. This is like the patience you demonstrate here is pretty awesome in completing the turn. Um, like this course was 4 or 5 meters tighter, and I feel like a panel, maybe two, further across the hill. So it's just like every turn is going to feel like this huge labor. And I think you do a really good job with this. So as I slowly rewind, but okay, so coming here, like you could see your skis are almost across the hill right now. Look at that, right? And you realize, because I think you realize like you need to get to this point, like you need to basically be starting your turn here, or else you're going to be toast. So, boom. And yeah, you're not going to be arcing these turns because if this is 20-meter GS and your skis are made for 25 meters, it's like really just not possible unless you're like Ted Ligety to arc some of these turns. So it's just about doing the best you can and staying on, a safe but not too round of a line. Okay, so coming out of this transition here, you can see your skis again are aiming like up here. And look at all that room you give yourself for the turn there. Like you're basically done with the turn, nearly done with the turn there, but you're not pinching. You have all the room for your body to go inside that gate and exert as much force on that downhill ski as you need. And I mean, you whip that turn around pretty darn quickly. Done, right? And now, so just be careful. You're in a bit of an extended position here. You kind of want to be more hands forward, knees still a little bit bent, because it's going to take some energy to get from this position you're in to somewhere that's a bit more athletic. Um, but let's see. You managed to do so. That gate's kind of in the way, but it looks like you're still giving yourself plenty of room to pressure the ski without getting like your upper body pinched around the gate. Well done. All right, Jack. Just quick thing I see, these hands being kind of down at your knees, down close to your hips. I'd like to see them a little bit further forward. Remember, we're talking Marcel Hirscher hands. Kind of almost like you're trying to like punch the air in front of you. Also, what we were talking about of look at that left hand there, like how close that is, how it's, you're losing pressure on the outside ski because your shoulders are generally tilting downwards that way, and really you want them more tilting that way. But if you can get that hand up, it'll like bring your center of mass up, and everything will be easier to keep on your outside ski if you do that. And the other thing we talked about on the lift the other day was like the risk of hooking a hand on the base of a gate. Like you're really not that far from a reasonably serious injury right there. So looking at this, if you've watched some of the videos before you, um, I would say this is pinching the line a little bit. You want to be, coming from, doing exactly this, Like this is a good, like I like you can see the building a platform on that outside ski, starting to bring that outside shoulder over it. But can you just be doing it maybe like over here so that you have enough room to really arc that turn across? Because we're going to see you're going to have to start to skid in order to give yourself enough room to get around that gate. Then a lot of direction change still below the gate. A lot of direction change below the gate. And that blue, once you're late on one gate, it's hard to catch up. But that is, I like this turn a lot. See how you are delaying the start of the turn until almost you're past this gate here. Like if we were to trace that arc, it would be something like that, as opposed to, going straight to this gate and then trying to skid that turn a little bit. Oh, okay. So let's look at what went wrong there, because that was looking to be a great couple set of gates. So you're coming in here. Maybe you're a little bit pinching. Maybe, but I don't know. Maybe not even. That looks like a pretty good line. You just lose that pressure there. I think because you rotate. It's not some people counter, some people rotate. So a counter would be looking at your ski there. So your skis are pretty directly downhill at that point. Like a counter would be as if your like upper body is kind of facing in that direction. A um, an oversteer would be as if your body is facing in that direction. And really, like, doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's that you lose pressure on your outside ski, and I think that's what happens here. You kind of yeah, and lose pressure on that downhill ski. Those were some great turns before there. That was a good line choice there on this blue. The way you came off, you brought it across the hill, and you were able to kind of like swoop in, dive in on that, set you up nicely for the rest of the course. I think this is another, maybe it's something to do with your right footers. Um, not everyone is, very few people are symmetrical in their right and left foot turns in skiing. So maybe there's just something about your right footers where you are, it looks like, losing square, you're over rotating a bit. Like we were saying before, instead of countering, you're kind of like ideally, you're kind of looking, your upper body's looking a bit too much in that direction. And it makes you lose that downhill pressure. And particularly on like a pretty huge turn like that, where you're delaying a lot of like that's a fall away turn if you notice it, because once you delay that pressure and once you come over this little null here, you're trying to make pressure on a slope that's like falling away from you. Yeah, pinched. Maybe a little more direction on that. If you look at some of the girls before this, they took a nice line on this, but you can see you're coming off and you're ready to kind of like go in and kind of whip off this really quick turn here, but GS skis just don't behave that way. So instead coming more across and kind of swooping, and that's an exaggeration on the line, but um, it's like if that, oh, you didn't even make that gate, yeah. So I was gonna say if the finish line was right there and you can get away with it, yeah, but you missed the last gate there. Nice. I like that line. Nice. Yeah, that was a solid line. I'm trying to find something wrong with that. Let's see. Maybe inside hand can be up. Hands a little further forward. They're kind of not helping you to get your weight forward. So you can see in transition here, your butt's like far behind your heels, and you want to get just a little bit more forward than that. So using your hands, if you instead of your hands being down here, they were like up forward, having that mass forward would definitely help. Nice. This is yeah, so this is this is a funny run. You are just slowly getting like sucked lower, lower and lower. So this is, you're in a decent spot there, a little bit low. Like you're gonna see, you're gonna have to get a decent amount of direction done. Yeah, below the gate there. Hanging on, hanging on. So there, you might have been able to pull this off, but you're countered a bit, and you lose that outside ski, and the time it costs you. You're now going pretty darn straight at this gate because you lost all that time. You're trying to pick it up, trying to make it, trying to make it. And then basically what happens is here is you try to make like put an apex of your turn right in the compression of a hill. So your apex is like right here, right? And the compression of the hill is also like right there. So you are basically like turning and you hit something of a wall here and do and then you're basically just springing back from that and there's nothing you can do. But yeah, watch for those compressions. All right, I'm not sure of your name, so I'll call you Green Jacket. Green Jacket. Let's take a look. Like the pole plant. Like that. Nice. Gets that strong movement, gets those hips forward. It's a great forward movement. Your line, you're pinching a little bit here. All that skidding is basically your brain saying like, I need to pause for a second because I can't start turning yet. Then your brain tells you right here, okay, I can start turning. But this is a strong position to, be in. Let's see. All right, bringing the line nice and deep. I like that. Oh, and this is great too. Look at that. The beginning of a very strong platform. Let's see. Nice. See if you can maybe get that side crunch that a little bit stronger, get pressure on that left ski a little bit more. And then looking at this transition, you're getting bucked back a little bit, like, the springiness of your skis is taking you in the back seat, and it's going to be hard to pull off this next turn because you're going to have to get yourself forward before you can do so. That's going to take some time. I like that line choice. Nice. You delay the turn, delay the turn, delay the turn until you have like enough room to really pressure it. All right, a little bit better in transition there. That's a tough turn. It's falling away from you. Nice, well done. All right, I clearly messed up the order here. I'm sorry, I got your video out of order, so I'm just gonna take a look at your second run. All right, so looking at this, you're countering a little bit. You can see like your skis are kind of going in that direction, but your body's facing more down in that direction, and it's causing you to lose some pressure on that downhill ski and skid your turn a little bit. Nice. I like your line choice here. So see how you were patient across the hill? I didn't get it in frame, unfortunately, but you can see you're patient. You could have started diving in here, but you can complete the turn, bring it further across the hill, and it gives you all this room from here to underneath the gate to get the turn done. And by the time you come by the gate, all of your direction's done. You're in transition, but you're, all the direction is done right there. So ever so slightly under the gate. Not bad. Quite good. Looks like maybe your left footers might be a little more comfortable for you, a little stronger than your right footers. It seems like all the blue gates seem to be just a bit stronger than the red gates. Might be something to do with, you may more naturally be able to incline your body to kind of get pressure on that outside ski. Whereas we can see maybe on this side, that doesn't happen quite as easily. There's a little less of an angle there, so maybe just something to pay attention to in your free skiing. Nice, nice turns. All right. Coming out of that turn, like your line choice here. Now here, you're setting up for a really strong turn. It'd be great to see you put even more pressure on that outside ski. Do that, like engage those left obliques, those left abs. Try to like get that left shoulder, pulling it towards that side of the hill, and that'll put more pressure on that left ski and just give you a much stabler platform and one that gets your turn done quicker as well. Nice, I like that. Good line choice there. Brought it deep. Another good choice. Yeah, I think so. I really like your line choice. I think for you, it's like trying to get the turn done more cleanly with that line choice. And for you, that what we were talking about before about really having that left shoulder like pulling towards your left ski on left footers, uh, and vice versa for right footers. And there are drills if you ask, there are drills that we can give you too to help develop that feeling and understand. All right, Kai, let's take a look. Nice, I like that. Like that high line here. Building pressure on that ski, on that left foot ski. The sooner you get that that shoulder out, so you can see this angle here. The quicker you get the angle more like that with your left shoulder out over your ski, the faster it's going to hook up and start turning. So here you can see like you have a good line choice, but you're kind of leaning in a little bit, preventing like from having like quicker and cleaner pressure on that outside ski. Here you're pinching the line ever so slightly. That's where this this nose comes from because you're skidding. You start the turn, come out of the turn here, aiming at the gate in this direction. And your brain realizes like, oh, if I start doing this turn, I'm going to be inside this gate. I'm going to be here. So you skid, 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 skid until you are on what I would say like, the proper line. So that's your line and you're skidding from like here to here. But if you completed the turn and came around here, you'd be on that line eventually. But without having to skid all that speed. All right, nice. I think I see a little bit of improvement here, run to run, but still could see even more to bring that left shoulder out towards that left ski. Ooh, nice recovery there. Yeah, it seems like you're on your right footers. You see that angle there. It seems like your right footers are a little stronger than your left footers. And everyone's going to be a little stronger on one foot than the other. Part of it could be the hill. The left foot turns fall away on the face. Um, but maybe just something to pay attention to in your free skiing and warm-up runs. Nice. I really like this turn because it was a tough turn, a bit of a bobble, maybe because you're going a little too straight. However, get this bobble and you realize I need to continue turning. I can't give up here, can't give up here, can't give up here, here, and you continue to fight to get back on that high line. You know you need to get to this point, and you're a little bit low and late getting there. However, you do get there and allows you to get back on that line. Otherwise, that bobble on that blue gate beforehand would have probably caused you to blow out of the course. Here, though, and I know you're getting a little low, but if you had done that same thing from that blue to red as you did from this red to blue, fight, 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 And it's almost like you think you're back online here and start going a little straight. But if you had fought to get further across that hill instead of going like that, um, you would have been able to bring this turn around here, and you're going to see you're going to basically scrub this entire section, and dump a little bit of speed in doing so because you're going to try to swing around that gate. But I think if you would have from up here, if you would have brought the turn just a little wider, despite already being low, you would have been able to recover a little better. And then, having said that, you managed to recover pretty nicely from that blue to that red. Bring that nice and deep. Good pressure on your outhill ski. Boom. Nice. All right, looking at, I'm not sure your name, so we'll call you the Masked Bandit. All right, Bandit. All right, does look like your left footers are a little more comfortable than your right footers. So if we roll that back a little bit, see here. I like how you're bringing the line high. Notice how you're doing most of your turn like up here. So by the time you're like right there, you don't have that much or any turn left, and you have your direction coming across the hill. So here you can see if you were to bring this left shoulder, where this dot is, out, try to like pull it outward, you'd have more of a plot. You'd be getting more pressure on this outside ski earlier, and it would start turning more easily. But because you only have as much pressure as you do, the ski doesn't have enough to really like start turning, and the turn um, results in what we see here, just some sliding, and then eventually it hooks up and arcs at that point. All right. I'm not sure of your name, so make sure you introduce me next time you're at practice. Let's roll back a little bit. So coming out of this gate, we can see, so this right hand drops, and it kind of just brings your entire body down in this direction. So this hand drops, then your entire body is kind of falling down, and it's really hard to get pressure on your outside ski when you have so much of your weight, of your mass kind of on the inside like this. So you gain your balance, nice pole plant to recover, very nice. So this is what we call countering. If you look at kind of the position your body's in here, the way your skis are pointing, they're pointing in roughly that direction. But your body's facing is not parallel to that. Your upper body's kind of like facing almost uphill a bit. And that rotation, which is, this rotation, which is opposite to what we call countering, which is your body's facing that way, it both kind of have the same effect where you lose pressure on your outside ski. You really want your shoulders to be more square, looking kind of more in the direction your skis are going so that you can transfer that pressure to the outside ski. Yeah, I'd say that would be my biggest recommendation of something to work on is just getting pressure on that outside ski because it's hard to work on other stuff until you have that a bit more down, because it's so foundational to like what makes you fast in ski racing. All right, let's look at your next run. Ooh, nice hands like that. Okay, a lot better with your line choice on this. You get dragged low here for sure. We can see a little bit of countering, but it does look a little bit better this run. Um, but then your line choice. So see how you were patient and you continue the turn, you're still turning, still turning, still turning, and now you're kind of going across the hill and you begin to transition. What that does is it gives you all this room from where you are all the way underneath that gate to get that turn done. And we'll see its benefits. So you're at the gate, and you're rotated a little bit. If you had more pressure on that outside ski, your upper body was a bit more, like bending outwards, angulating outwards, so that your pressure or your shoulder is kind of reaching towards that outside ski. This would have felt a lot stabler, but you have a good line choice, so props on that. So see how you come out. Your turn was done here. You're transitioning, and let's see how this next turn goes. Nice. Bring it deep again, kind of getting a lot of the turn done here. So now that you're at the gate, you already have a lot of your direction, most of it already done. Nice. Nice. Yeah, nice. Ooh, okay. This is a good, this kind of shows what happens when we counter a bit. We can see here, so things are looking like pretty good, right? You've got pressure on that outside ski. However, this is where you really go to crank it, like and put pressure on that outside ski because your body is your ski wants is still going in that direction, your body's facing in that direction. Your left foot's going to track out, and you're going to have to recover to your inside foot. So that wouldn't have happened if right here, let's say, or this right here, if you were more square with your shoulders over your skis, and I can explain what square means if that's not clear, I can explain in person. But basically means like everything is kind of lined up where your shoulders are in line with your body, in line with your skis, and that just makes for the power transfer. Um, not go this way. Things stay more parallel. Ooh, nice recovery though. Whew. All right, Bodhi, let's look at your video. Nice, I like that movement there to initiate that turn. So let's look at that again. See that? See that movement forward? That's great. Now, can you try to space that out, kind of smooth that out a bit? Because really you'd want to be starting that movement here, but you're kind of, sitting in the back seat and then about right there you start making that movement. But if you start it here and kind of make it more fluid between turns, it'll feel a little more natural, a bit more like a dance. So on this gate though, it's good forward movement, but your line choice, I think you went a little straight at this gate and started your turn right here, which means that if you start here, it's not going to be till halfway to the gate that you get that turn done. So it'd be better to see starting that turn like up here, kind of getting it done there so that by the time you're at that gate, all the turn is already done. That's going to make you late for this blue. You do recover nicely. Oh, but late again on the red. Looks like maybe for you, your right footers are a little weaker than your left footers. Usually everyone has a turn that is a little bit stronger than the other. So just knowing that, focus on in free skiing and your warm-up runs and stuff. Try to figure out what is that? Is there something that's asymmetric about your body? Maybe you're dropping your left hand but not dropping your right. Maybe your shoulder's a little misaligned on one side versus the other. Just pay attention to why that might be. Nice. Seeing the movement between turns. Let's bring the hips forward. Very nice. Nice. See it there too. It's going to be a tough run because it's stubby, but I really like the way what you did there with the drill. Back on the poles. Nice. Good movements forward. Kind of what we were saying earlier though, like can we space them out so that they're, elongated between turns as opposed to these like abrupt quick moments in between turns. So you can start that movement, coming out of that turn, you can start that forward movement now, whereas it looks like you're starting it like right there. Very, very subtle, small difference, but it'll just feel a lot more natural and rhythmic. All right, Jaden, this is the run after you walked out of your skis, so just check your DINs. They should probably be, I think you said they were at like 7 in practice. They could probably be a little higher, 8, 9 perhaps. All right, so let's take a look. All right, coming over this. Your overall like fore aft weight distribution looks pretty good. You're not, I wouldn't say you're in like the back seat here, and it looks like you even have some good boot pressure on that left boot. Um, it's kind of hard to see from this angle, but it looks like you might be able to like get the far shoulder, the left shoulder, kind of use your obliques and abdomen to pull that shoulder over towards that outside ski. Because what we can kind of see here, and it'll get like more pressure on it. Um, Another thing, and I know this is hard on flat, but we can see your A-framing right here. Like this left ski is way more angulated over than this right ski. I know on flats it's harder to do that, but sometimes having this A-frame like this, having this pressure prevent it kind of like locks your leg out from getting pressure on the outside ski. So it's weird. It's like sometimes driving this inner knee, in this case this right knee, inward and trying to keep your legs, your lower legs parallel. You'll actually feel by driving that knee rightward, it kind of clears room for your left leg to exert more pressure on your ski. So maybe something that's a really good thing to like practice in free skiing before you bring it into the course though. It's a good, I like your um, transition to the next turn. You can maybe move forward a bit, like you are kind of squatting down a bit, but you're not that far back either. It looks like you get that weight forward and you're diving into that turn there. Um, So that I think your fore aft weight distribution actually looks pretty darn good. It's just can you, what we were talking about before, if this is your lower body and that's your upper body, can you do anything to get your upper body like over more, get that shoulder over more, and that'll get more pressure on your outside ski. You have a good line choice here, but because you're leaning in and slightly rotated, you're just not getting enough pressure on that ski for it to like really bite in and make an arc. So you kind of skid across the turn, but I end up on a good line and a good transition coming out of the turn. Just that snow that you can see in the air costs you some time on that blue gate. And then, ooh, okay, what happened here? This was puzzling me. So what I think happened is I think you were pinching the line here, going a little too straight at the gate. So we can see you kind of going in there. And what I've said to other people in the video is like, what happens when, like, let's say the correct line you're supposed to take is maybe go wider and bring the turn, do the turn up above this blue gate and come in with your direction. What happens when you take this inner line is your mind realizes, like, when you're about here, like, oh crap, if I do this turn, if I like hook up these skis right now, I'm going to turn inside the gate and I'm going to miss the gate entirely. So what happens is your body kind of like makes you, well, is going to just make you basically chill from here to here, sliding, not really doing too much to turn, but just biding your time till you are on the proper line where you can ski, like have your skis hook up and actually like carve the turn and make the gate. And in that kind of like limbo period, it looks like you get really light, and then when you go to engage those skis again, either the snow wasn't as hard as you thought it was going to be, or something happened that you weren't allowed to do that. So we can see coming in, pinching the line, and it's like right here, you're kind of like, all right, time to lay it on, let's go. And then you go to do that, and the snow just doesn't hold up um, like you thought it was going to, and you kind of you slide out. So again, like I really think if you had just taken that turn a little wider, you would have been on edge basically the entire time. Maybe like your transition would have happened like right here, but you wouldn't have had that period when you were kind of just like weightless, sliding through space. This sure looked really challenging. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, kind of similar thing. I won't harp on it too much, but kind of similar thing where just getting pressure on that outside ski by driving that outside shoulder towards your outside ski, doing like a side crunch in every turn you do. All right, Lucia, let's take a look. I like your line choice. Good movement between turns. I'm not sure what happened there. I think he still had it. He kind of just seemed to give up. Not every run's going to feel like amazing. Just continuing to fight. Okay, so I'm liking your line choice here. So I like how, you start the turn well above the gate, so, way up here. Means that you can get most of your direction done by the time you're at the gate. However, right here, I would think you are like definitely strong enough to get your skis to engage there and begin the what you'd call like the arcing portion of your turn right there. And if you did that, you'd kind of come in, you'd maybe have scrubbed a little bit of speed here, but you'd come in right under the gate there. Instead, what ends up happening is you scrub a decent amount more and come in on an even lower line, sucking you even lower for the next gate. So what I think you can do is in your free skiing, if you focus on like right at this point in the turn, so you can see like the new downhill ski or right hill ski is starting to hook up. You can see the pressure there. What you want to do is try to take this shoulder and do like a side crunch and try to like bring the shoulder to your outside ski. And what that will do is it will cause your entire spine here to hinge in that direction, and it'll like bring just a lot more mass of your like upper body mass over your outside ski, and leaving you in a much stabler position that will allow your ski to carve a much cleaner arc than if you give it less pressure. It's kind of this ironic thing in skiing where it's like you have to like take more risk to actually be in a safer actual position. So just keep that in mind. Like your line choice there, though, you brought that turn very deep, gave yourself plenty of room to make that turn above the gate. Again, I think you could have made that. This is the afternoon course, so yeah, it's a lot turnier. So you got to set up for those gates. Particularly the ones coming over the pitch. Sometimes they just really get you on how turny they're going to be. Like your line choice there. I like for example there, a lot of the turn was done above the gate. You're at the gate there, and like look, you already have most of your direction, if not all of it done, going towards that red. I'm not sure of your name, so please make sure you introduce yourself to me next time you're at practice. So I'll call you Blue Hoodie. All right, Blue Hoodie. Nice pole plant, like that. See how that gets your upper body so forward? You're definitely pinching the line there for sure. See how like you went much too straight at this blue gate and really didn't start turning until you were basically at the gate. So of course all the direction is going to be done at below the gate, but you actually, pulled it off decently well. I'm not sure how much time you would have lost, but the fact that you are still in the course is good. And you know what I attribute that to? That really strong pole plant here, because this was a hard move to pull off, but you got your body in a good position to do it. Put pressure on that outside ski, right? Like if we can't really see, but there's your leg and your upper body's like that. That's a pretty good position to be in. Can you go a little bit further, a little further, a little further, get more pressure on that outside ski? Probably. So something to work on, but that's a strong position to be in. So getting back, see if you can recover on the line. Recovering, still a little bit late there, but I'd say half the turn was done above, half below. Yeah, you have a really good turn shape, good technique in the turn. Maybe leaning in a little bit there, but I would say the thing that you should focus on are your tactics, your line choice, and like where you choose to do the turns. Because if you were to widen up that line a little bit, it would just give you so much more room and space to really pressure your ski like you're clearly able to do. So just to reiterate, looking at it from here, like the line up here, if you want to have the direction change at this gate, kind of going like that, that means the turn has to happen like up here. If you're going straight at the gate like that, or you were going kind of here and then got a lot of the turn done here, there's just no way that you can do that with GS skis. GS skis require 25 meters to turn in the best of scenarios, and that's just not going to happen if you don't give yourself the room to do it. Nice. I think that was a lot better online. Just go take a quick look at that. But like, I think it was because you were also that last run, you were late on one. It took a while to recover. But here you're bringing that line a little bit deeper. Okay, so your line is, through here and trying to go around like that. What we'd want to see is bring it even wider. So you're going like that. Because if you do that, like from where you are now to when you're at the gate, you will be scrubbing your turn and losing speed. Scrub, 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 time off the clock. However, if you could have like actually arced the turn by giving yourself the extra meter or two of like total distance traveled to do it, you wouldn't have scrubbed any of that speed, and the extra distance would have cost you effectively no time. Nice line through the end there. All right, and I'm not sure your name, so please introduce yourself to me at practice if you see me. Um, but we'll start off just by saying strong pole plant. Look at that. Let's see what happens with your upper body because of that pole plant. Forward. Hands forward too. Pole planting is good. Oh, another one. Nice. See how that just like transitions your body, gets the upper body like where it needs to be. That's great. That's good stuff. My critique here would be your line choice though. Like you're doing really good stuff with your like personal technique, but where you are choosing to place those ski turns is costing you time. So right here, coming out of this turn, you're transitioning and you're going to end up like starting to turn right here-ish on the gate. What we want to do instead is becoming more across the hill out of that other turn, that previous gate, and starting the turn kind of up here so that we have more time to get it done ahead of the gate. Because what we're going to see happen is you're going to start the turn and you're basically just going to scrub speed from about here to here, and we'll see that with all the snow. And it's only once you're under the gate that you realize, oh, okay, now I have enough room to actually start carving, and you try to actually go exert pressure on the ski, but the hill's falling away. You need to get across the hill. Like you're just not in a very strategic position there. And then also one thing on pressure on your outside ski, if you can get this right shoulder in this case, if you can like try to push it outward, that will bring your entire mass of your upper body also outward and get more pressure on that outside ski. So, this is a lot. The line you took is maybe something that like a World Cup skier could pull off, who has, incredible technique and is insanely strong. But that's because they have the technique where they can really pressure the outside ski. If they took that line, their leg would be like that and their upper body would be like that, basically. Like just so much angulation, so much pressure on this outside ski. So until we're that strong or that good, we have to take what we would call a bit more of a conservative line that allows us to the space to carve the turn that we can carve. So in that case, that's something more like that. Similar thing here. We'd want to see this turn be brought out a little wider, and then a lot of the turn done above the gate. This line that you're taking is a bit straighter, so from like here to where you are, it's all scrub, 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 so that you can kind of get your skis around and in the direction they need to be at the gate, so that when you're at the gate, you can try to start going that direction. But do keep in mind if this is the afternoon course, this was a really turny course as well, so you're not necessarily going to be arcing every single turn either. But there are things you can do with your line choice to make it easier to arc more turns.